What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. I actually was going to take the day off as far as uploading videos. Just take the day off, trying to look for things to talk about for tomorrow, things to upload tomorrow for the Patreon. And I saw this, and initially I was going to talk about it because I didn't believe it. I thought this was just one of those theory, conspiracy theory, far right kooks. Even though he is on Fox News, um, that doesn't mean that he's still not a far right wing conspiracy theorist. So I did a little bit reading, and you know, there may be something to this one. There may definitely be something to this. So let me get to this. So a man named Andrew McCarthy, who is a senior fellow at the National Review Institute and a former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. So he has ties to that system in New York. He's a Fox News contributor. He wrote a column yesterday saying that Donald Trump will be sentenced to prison in September. Now, if this news has been leaked, which it shouldn't have been, that has to be like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a constitutional scholar, but if there is truth to this, this has to violate all types of legal laws for things like this to be leaked out. Okay, so let me just go further into this. Donald Trump will be ordered to serve time in prison when he is sentenced for falsifying business records in September, a Fox News columnist has said. Andrew McCarthy said Trump will not actually be incarcerated even if he is handed a custodial sentence on September 18th, as the former president will likely get bail pending appeal. Instead, McCarthy said that Judge Juan Merchan, who oversaw the hush money trial and will hand down Trump's sentence next month, will be helping Vice President Kamala Harris and the, quote, media Democratic complex to label Trump a convicted felon sentenced to prison just weeks before Election Day in November. Trump became the first U.S. president to be convicted of a crime after a New York jury found him guilty of 34 felony falsifying business record counts in May. He had denied all charges and said that he was a victim of political persecution. He is likely to appeal. The sentencing date was previously set for July 11th, but was delayed until September 18th as Merchan considers whether the Supreme Court is ruling granting Trump some presidential immunity for official acts committed in office affects the hush money case. Writing for Fox News, McCarthy suggested, quote, if we may read the tea leaves, that Merchan will likely deny the immunity appeal from Trump's legal team. Okay, so this would imply that New York's prosecution, their motivation is not justice, but politics. I mean, that makes sense because what? Registered Democrats outnumber Republicans, what, 2-1 in New York State, and in New York City is more like 3 or 4-1. So a good deal of reason would say that the vast majority of people working on this case probably would rather have Harris in that White House than Trump. Not to mention the fact that they may have developed some visceral disdain for Trump just in being in close proximity to this guy. So look, I really was still kind of a little hesitant to talk about this. But then I saw this. This was from back in May. Eric Adams says Rikers staffed by professionals is ready for Trump. The judge in Donald Trump's criminal case has threatened him with jail if he continues violating the terms of a gag order. A day after the judge presiding over Donald Trump's trial said he would consider jailing the former president should he continue to violate court orders, Mayor Eric Adams said the city's lockups stand ready. Quote, our amazing commissioner, she is prepared for whatever comes on Rikers Island, said the mayor at an unrelated news conference, apparently referring to Lynette McGinley Liddy, the commissioner of the Department of Correction. I'm pretty sure she would be prepared to manage and deal with the situation. So there is the mechanism in place to at least house the former president in case that became a thing. Right? But then I still was like, I don't know, man. But then I started doing some reading, some more reading, and I saw other various YouTubers and other news sites speaking on this. Okay. I saw this from CBS News. Trump seeks to delay sentencing in hush money case until after the election. Attorneys for former President Donald Trump asked the judge overseeing his criminal case in New York to delay his sentencing until after the presidential election in November, arguing that a delay is necessary to resolve ongoing legal challenges to his conviction. In a letter to Justice Juan Merchan, the judge overseeing the case, Trump attorneys Todd Blanche and Emil Bove noted that the current sentencing date of September 18th would come after early voting had already begun. Sentencing is currently scheduled to occur after the commencement of early voting in the president's election, Blanche and Bove wrote. By adjourning the sentencing until after the election, the court would reduce, even if not eliminate, issues regarding the integrity of any future proceedings. Now, the thing about this is, if Trump knew that the odds of him actually being sentenced to anything were pretty much nil, where, you know, he knew that this is much ado about nothing, he wouldn't be so hesitant or so adamant, about having the sentencing push until after the election. Because he knows if he gets elected, well, then this pretty much renders everything null and void, because pretty much the Constitution, for the most part, pretty much protects the president from criminal prosecution. An ex-president or a civilian, as Trump is right now, not so much. So maybe Trump knows something. Maybe he does know that he's at risk of going to jail, or at least being sentenced to jail, not going to jail, but sentenced to jail. So he's, you know, this is probably why, in addition to the shooting, why Trump has been so frazzled lately. But the media, hey, look, I'm not out here defending him, okay? I'm not trying to defend him. I'm trying to look at this from a rational, detached manner. And I think that people don't seem to understand this. Like, people, when I'm discussing these videos, I'm talking for the most part, unless it's something that really bothers me, like, you know, kitty diddlers or some just despicable act. We've gotten used to being Trump, how Trump is. We know that he's a piece of shit, okay? But then again, we've had a lot of people be pieces of shit that have been president, and some of them been great presidents. Lyndon Johnson was a piece of shit. Andrew Johnson was a piece of shit. Jackson was a piece of shit. Warren G. Harding was a serial philanderer. You know, most presidents cheat on their wives. Okay, that don't mean that they couldn't do the job. So that's why, look, is Trump a good person? Fuck no, he's not. Does he deserve to be in jail? I mean, you can make the argument he does. Yeah. But that still doesn't excuse the fact that the Democrats, if this is true, they're playing politics. They're playing politics. The thing that I don't like about the Democrats is they try to pretend like they have the moral superiority over Republicans, but in reality, they're just as dirty, if not dirtier now, than the Republicans are. Republicans used to be the party that was real dirty, but the Democrats have gotten even dirtier. I just don't like when people pretend like they're fighting some moral fight as if they don't have some partisan agenda behind it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if this is true, September 18th will be 1 month after, excuse me, 1 week after the debate, right? So this would start from, let's say, after the debate until election day. This would dominate social media. If this is true, this would dominate social media. This would dominate the political blogosphere and the blogosphere in general if Trump was sentenced to jail. Because look, like I said, I don't think he's going to go to jail. I think they're going to appeal it. But if this guy did any time behind jail, my goodness, man, like what they're trying to do is ruin this dude. They're trying to ruin him, right? They're trying to basically make him have to go back and forth to court, get him entangled in legal affairs, which would derail him campaigning, and basically paint him as a felon, which they think will swing the election to Kamala. But there's a problem with this. If this is their strategy, this is what they're doing. The problem with this is Donald Trump supporters who are already fervently behind him, all you're going to do is then turn him into a martyr. If you do this, you run the risk of turning him into a martyr. In particular, if he actually does wind up behind in a jail cell, which, by the way, is not illegal. When I say not illegal, you can run for president in jail. Eugene Debs did that in 1920. He ran for president on the socialist ticket. He was actually in prison. And I think he got something around 3% of the vote, I think it was, and almost 1 million votes in 1920. But anyway, you run the risk of mobilizing his base if you do this. They already are like a cult behind this man. Then they're going to become an army. They're going to be an army going out there voting on election day. And they're probably going to start early voting, which I think some of them are doing more now. You don't hear as much fuss about early voting because more of them are doing that now. Also, I think you run the risk of people who are sort of on the fence and are sort of apathetic anyway. You run the risk of some people saying, you know what? Screw the hell of both these candidates, man. Screw Kamala, screw Trump. I'm going to sit this one out. And these could have been potentially people who were thinking about voting for Kamala. Or you could have had independent voters who were leaning toward Trump, feeling sympathetic toward him because they think that you're playing politics with this legal situation, and they might just go out there and vote for him. You just don't know how this is going to rock. I'm going to say this too in conclusion. There's always been this little talk about some big event having an effect on the election this fall. I'm wondering this might be what might be down the road. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if this is what people have been talking about, what people have been chirping about. Like I said before, man, I'm not a supporter of either one of these candidates, but I don't like if this is what they're doing, because I know if this is true, I know that they're playing politics with this shit. They're playing politics. They're trying to rig the game to get Kamala in there. And I don't fuck with that. I'm going to tell you another thing the Democrats are doing that I don't like. They're trying to keep the Green Party candidate, who is Jill Stein this time, they're trying to keep her off the ballot in certain states, in particular swing states. Wisconsin, the Democratic Party in Wisconsin is trying to keep the Green Party off the ballot, ostensibly because of, they lack representation in the government and in the public, in the government of Wisconsin and in elected officials in Wisconsin. Said, well, they only got 1% of the vote in the midterms, and they don't have representation, so why should they be on the ballot? Okay, maybe it's because the only reason you really have an issue with the Green Party is because you know that the vast majority of the Green Party votes are going to come from the Democratic side, the left side. So you're trying to monopolize as many votes as possible so that Kamala wins Wisconsin. Because it's funny, the same Democratic-leaning media were pushing Lynn Cheney to run as an independent this time because they knew that she would most likely take votes away from Trump rather than, at the time, Biden. You see what I'm saying? They pick and choose when they want to endorse a third-party candidate. They think their candidate's going to hurt the Republican. I'm not trying to take sides, but I just don't like the bullshit going on, man. I don't like that shit. But anyway, man, I don't know if this is true or not, man. But if they do this might be a bridge too far, in my opinion, man. Like I said, I do believe that Donald Trump is a piece of shit. But if you're really going to start locking up people because of foul deeds, then where is the Me Too movement? Where's the legal movement against Bill Clinton? You know what I'm saying? Wasn't he on the Ledger 36 times for Epstein? And by the way, why the media hasn't talked about that black book? What happened to this black book? What happened to it, y'all? Just disappeared, huh? Maybe because some of the people in the media are the main ones on in the goddamn book. Man, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.